So I find one of the really funny stories in the Bible, I'm sure everybody knows this story, is happening just outside of Haifa in a place called Carmiel. And Israel, it is a very low spiritual ebb. And the prophet Elijah, is really frustrated, and he asks for God to have a special compensation where he can go and challenge the priests of the evil idol called Baal. And so there's this whole situation going on where each team, they have 400 priests, and Eliyahu's by himself. Each one will build an altar. Each one will bring a sacrifice. And the way that you'll know who the winner is if a fire would come zipping down from heaven and consume this offering. Now, the priests of the Baal were pretty confident that they would win because they knew that it was prohibited for a religious Jew of the time to bring a sacrifice outside of the temple in Jerusalem. So they thought for sure, since Eliyahu would be violating that law, then God was not going to support him in that activity and no fire was going to come down. Nonetheless, because they had home court advantage, they got to go first, and it's going on and on and on until finally Eliyahu says, well, you know what? Maybe he's a little old, your God. Maybe he's a little deaf. Why don't you yell louder? So have you ever been in synagogue and noticed that there are people maybe davening near you who also think God is deaf, and that they really raise their voice and they swing their hands and they're having like a real kind of Southern Baptist moment, which is fine if you're a Southern Baptist, but not necessarily when you're in synagogue. So the Talmud comes along and says about a person who raises his voice or her voice in a community prayer is actually called a person of little faith. Because the idea of prayer is really very cosmic. It's about the fact that we have an infinite soul inside of ourselves that is permeating ruchnius, spirituality, into the physical world. You could almost think of your body like an air dispenser, like, and every time you are praying, you are releasing spirituality into the world. And that's why our sages say that when we pray, all we're really doing is curving our lips like cookie cutters. We are giving shape to these spiritual forms to come into this world and bring their blessing. God can hear us even before we speak. So when we speak, it's really about emanating the holiness. It's not about yelling to God, God forbid, who we think is deaf.